Have you ever looked at the successful life that you've built and you feel so much dread that you're considering burning it all down? This is the episode for you. My name is Elyssa Smith. I'm a trauma informed executive coach, and I'm going to get personal on today's episode of the Unlock Your Blocks podcast because I recently started really understanding that there was a bunch of stuff that I needed to let go in my business, in my personal life, and it did not feel fun and freeing. It felt terrifying and maybe even a little lazy. Do you feel me? If so, hang with me. I'm going to walk you through this and what I've learned so far in my era of letting go. High achieving women are taught to never pull back because if you do, it's seen as lazy. And if as a child you got more of what you needed, like the more productive you were, the faster you moved, when you were pushing yourself more and achieving more, your nervous system perceives that it's only safe in that mode. So when you try to pull back, when you're like, yes, self-care is a good idea, people start talking about, okay, maybe we should slow down a little bit. And in your heart, you're like craving that slowdown. But what it feels like is that to loosen your death grip on your productivity and achievement and accomplishments would actually cause you to fail, to be unworthy, and to go down a path of laziness where everything just goes off the rails. It can feel very, very extreme. And that is absolutely how I used to live. I used to live my life full speed or nothing. The Fast and Furious is one of my favorite movie franchises, and they talk about living a quarter mile at a time. They just live for that adrenaline rush. And I was like, yes, I'm here for that, emotionally, physically, overscheduling myself, overthinking. And that's exactly where I went with my life and my business for a long time. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, I started learning about nervous system regulation and trauma healing and all these different things. And I started to understand that I can't have a consistently successful business or personal life or relationships unless I start to slow it down. So I created what I felt like was a very sustainable business model for me and for my life with my son and for the things that I want to do in my life, the travel and the taking breaks and taking vacations. And I've slowly scaled and brought on a team so that I could take more time off and I could delegate more of the things that are not in my zone of genius. If you're with me on this, I did, and I'm going to use air quotes, everything right. And still, in the middle of last year, what I started to realize is that I needed to pivot a little bit from what I was doing. I needed to lay some things down. But when you confuse your capacity for working hard with your actual self-worth and output, like everything you're able to produce, the more you're able to produce, the more safe you feel. It's really, really challenging to actually lay anything down. And when it looks like success externally, letting go feels like you're being lazy, you're sabotaging yourself, you're giving up, you're going to be a failure. So this episode is being published for the first time at the end of January in 2026. And the last 3 months of 2025 were the hardest decisions I have had to make in the 10 years that I've had my business. I decided after a lot of heartache and several tears, I will be the first to admit I am an empath, and it was really not an easy decision. I started my membership in 2020, and I had this amazing group of women that have been with me these last several years. And I started to realize this past several months, I needed to sunset the membership. It was starting to cause some nervous system dysregulation for me. It's the same thing I've always done. It can feel very scary and very like you're regressing. If you're really a high achiever and you're used to being able to produce a lot, and then suddenly the same stuff you used to be able to produce with ease or out of your hustle or adrenaline or whatever it is, that stuff becomes something that you're not exactly capable of at the same level anymore. And it's not like the quality was going down. It was more just like my capacity for carrying through with some of the things for the membership, some of the things for my free Facebook group, my community. All of those things started to conflict with the growth that I needed to step into for 2026, with the direction that I wanted to go, with where my free content was housed, with the success that I was starting to have in other avenues and these other things. Even though the women in my membership and in my free community, I love them dearly, and I still hold relationships with many of them at this point. But I needed to face that it was time to let that go. And not only did it not feel safe. It didn't actually feel lazy to me, but there are a lot of things that if you try to slow them down, it can feel really lazy. This didn't feel like that for me, but what it felt like was loss. It felt like loss to lay down something that I had consistently done for years, something that had brought me connections with women that I really wanted to serve and still do. And being in a position where I had to let go of that was really, really challenging. Now, when a mentor suggested that I let go, and I actually felt something new for the first time when someone suggested it, I felt a little relief. And it was like I immediately felt guilty because it's like, do you not want to help these ladies anymore? And you have to address whatever feels uncomfortable when you think about letting go, because it felt uncomfortable to be relieved. It felt uncomfortable to think about what would happen if I weren't giving these two trainings on these other two platforms that are almost, they're not aligned with the current platforms that I know that I'm being called to move forward with in 2026. So you have to look at, am I feeling relief? And then what does that bring up? Does it bring up guilt? Does it bring up loss? And so as I carried out and kind of let everyone know and did some lives in the groups and really connected with the women that didn't want to lose touch with me, and they were feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be abandoned. That's the worst for an empath high achiever. We're real afraid that when we slow down, we're going to stop helping, or we're going to leave people hanging where we really want to serve. And that can feel really yucky. So the slowing down is what I kept hearing. And the letting go theme, I just literally, like, every sermon I was listening to, every message, every coach that I was talking to, every mentor that I have, they're all saying, like, this is your year to pull back a little bit and refuel and kind of get spring loaded for the next move forward. And so those two pieces of my whole world, my two places on Facebook, my membership and my community, it was really challenging to lay that down. And so since slowing down was something I've been doing with some regulation, my soul was even asking for more. And my system was feeling attacked by the fact that I was going to change so much that I was already used to doing. And that's another thing, is when you're fully capable of continuing something, but it's good is the enemy of the best thing that you're doing with your time, it can feel really challenging and really conflicting. So what I did is I built in some more buffer in my life for a little more fun and a little more time to myself, which also felt scary and anxiety producing. And the first week back in the office a couple of weeks ago, I built in breaks during my day for the first time, where I was bigger breaks. Like, I'll have a little break between clients or something usually during the day. But right now I'm taking these bigger breaks and these nervous system reset moments. And I'm forcing myself to stop working in the middle of stuff to do that, which my system feels uncomfortable with. I'm going to be fully honest with you. It is not comfortable when you go to that next level of regulation and slowing down at first. But we have to create this capacity window, right? This window of tolerance for slowing things down a little bit and not judging ourselves for it, and not allowing, because not everyone was happy that I was doing that. You know, I had clients that I needed to move because the ones that were in the membership and the ones that were in the Facebook group, I needed to help them shift over to watching YouTube and to connection calls with me and things like this. And so, you know, it was really sad for a lot of people when I was changing. And also, I knew that in my heart, this is the right direction. So there are several more things that I have been feeling called to do to slow down in the new year. And it feels really anxiety producing when you first do it. Sitting when I was in the middle of a work day and not working, and like maybe watching a portion of my favorite show while I eat my lunch or go for a little walk or something, to stop in the middle of things felt so uncomfortable that first week. So now my system doesn't feel as on guard about it. It's been a few weeks, I've been practicing this, and my system is starting to feel safer. So what you really want to be shooting for is more joy, more capacity, more peace. And if there are things that you're doing right now, the good things you're doing, if you can tell that they're the enemy of the best things, because sometimes they can be, that's where you want to be looking. What would I feel relieved a little bit to let go of right now, or to slow down on? And if you feel bad about it, if you feel lazy, if you feel guilty, that just means you need to sit with your nervous system for a minute, look at some of that messaging that you learned when you were little about what it means about you if you slow down, and then take it one tiny step at a time. So I just want to close out today's episode with a little how-to on how to know what to let go of. If you are maintaining something out of obligation instead of alignment and joy, that's something to look at. That is possibly something that you need to let go of. It could be a relationship, it could be a job, even. It could be an activity that you're doing for your work, for your business. It might also be on autopilot. Like, I already had all these tasks for each of those groups scheduled out and automated, and my team was helping me with a lot of it. And I knew that in order to move to this next level that I'm being called to, I needed to lay it down. Look at also what's draining you. If you go through your day and write out your activities that you've done, then you can kind of tell how you're feeling about each activity. So I want you to go through maybe just a typical day, maybe your 9 to 5 job, or maybe the work that you do for your business or your side hustle. Maybe it's your personal life too. Write down the things that feel like they drain you. If there's that one friend that when she texts or calls, you just know like, oh, I'm going to be in for an emotion drain and a time suck during this interaction with her, maybe that's something to consider slowing down on and moving back from. You also want to look for guilt and lazy feelings. So if you have a lazy feeling about slowing down or letting go of something, you want to really identify where that's coming from. Regulation can just be quiet. Regulation can be deep breaths and working on your trauma responses and working on your protector parts coming to your aid, not wanting you to be worthless because you're taking a break when you're not allowed to take a break according to your old thinking. So if you're interested in getting some help with doing this letting go process without abandoning yourself, without like going fully in the opposite direction of just accomplishing nothing, you might be afraid that you're going to go all or nothing with it. I just want to invite you next week, as we're publishing this is the week of January 20th. Next week's the first week of February, we're beginning a 6-week nervous system reset called Regulated. And it's a little group container that's going to feel very safe and very easy for you to walk through the steps of nervous system reset and regulation as you are focusing forward on your 2026 goals. So we will get in our own way going to our goals if our nervous system feels more safe with old defaults that stop us. And that's what this 6 weeks is about. It's to get you through all the things that might stop you from getting to your goals, including overscheduling, overthinking, overanalyzing, procrastination, perfectionism, all the stuff that slows you down and bogs down the vehicle that you need to move you through to your success. We're going for more joy and more abundance in this 6-week container. So I'd love to have you book a chat with me if you're a woman and you want to have a look at the course and look at the program page that has all the info. It's elyssasmith.com/regulated, or you can book a chat with me about it, elyssasmith.com/focus. I would love to talk with you in there and to see if it's the right fit for you. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we will see you here in a couple of days with our last and final video of our January mini training series. So we're going to help you kick off the new year right.